You're on the record. All right, we'll get started now. And I just want to welcome Bob Duffy, the Greater Astor Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, who's also the Special Advisor to coordinate the Finger Lakes region reopening strategy. And Bob, welcome. It's great to have you with us today.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And Bob is going to give us a update on phase 2. Then he's going to answer some questions. After that, I'm going to invite Bill Moehle to give us an update on what's happening with the town, and we'll take it from there. Great. So, Bob, I'm going to invite you to get started.
Also, thank you. First of all, honored to be here and honored to partner with a fellow chamber. First of all, the most recent news you probably heard is the governor approved outdoor dining effective tomorrow. I know I talked to Supervisor Moehle just a couple of days ago on that, and I think everybody is thrilled. There's going to be state liquor authority guideline changes and other adjustments. There's going to be social distancing and all the components in it, but it gives restaurant owners a chance to open up their capacity now, get going. They've suffered enough for the last almost 3 months doing just takeout wherever they could. So it's a great opportunity for us, and that's the most recent news. But going back, we are in phase 2, heading toward phase 3. Finger Lakes was the first region to get announced and approved by the governor for phase 1. We're the first ones to be called for phase 2, almost a week ago. Phase 3 is somewhere in the area of June 12th. I never get caught up on dates. The governor is a friend and a colleague. He has said at least 2 weeks in between phases. Keywords at least. So I never pin him down to a day, but somewhere around June 12th or so. And the key issues are our numbers here in our region. It's hospitalization rates, it's ICU rates, it is infection testing, the whole bit. Our numbers look great. I mean, I think we really have done very well. And I applaud. We have a great team in this region. Vinny Esposito from Empire State Development is a partner that we work with every day. The county executive is on our control room. The mayor, the county health department leader, Dr. Mendoza, and a elected official, a leader from each of the 8 surrounding counties, our 2 hospital systems. And we work every day. We meet every day. I got off a phone call just a few minutes ago. We talk about issues here. We advocate tirelessly for this region. Everybody does. We are not decision makers. We provide information to the governor's team. My role is advisory. The control room is advisory in nature. It is not a legal entity. It's not a decision-making model. I always say we get all the blame, but we don't have the authority to make decisions yet. But the governor's team has been just superb. They listen, they follow through. And I do believe the announcement today for opening outdoor dining reinforces they're trying to speed things up. This is an announcement in between phases. So what was going to be a phase 3 activity got opened up for tomorrow, which I think is great news. And it's based on, again, the collaboration and teamwork that's going on. A couple quick things. 4 components of every business reopening, every plan should have face mask covering if you can't stay 6 feet apart, social distancing at least 6 feet apart, or a Moehle apart, 6'7", whatever. I'm only 6'5", so I'm sure I'm the short guy on the call here. Those 2 things, hand sanitizing, you don't have to spend money on hand sanitizers. It's more expensive. Soap and water works better than sanitizer. Last part is disinfecting. Our phones, our desks, our doorknobs, our surfaces, things like that. Those 4 things going into any plan help a great deal. And we advise businesses all the time to, even before you're open, create your plan, get it ready. There's a website. It's forward.ny.gov. So it's forward.ny.gov. It has all the regulations on there. It has a template, or many templates on there. It has a self-certification process for any business owners here. If you're not open yet, you can go on this website. If you're getting ready to open up in the future, you can self-certify you have a plan. The state will not inspect your plan before you open up, but if something were to happen, and I think the issue here is protecting employees and customers. And we keep saying, if somebody were to come into a business that perhaps the business owner opened early, didn't have a plan in place, did not take those steps I mentioned and then some, if somebody were infected and God forbid were to be hospitalized and even a loss of life somewhere, there's a liability issue looming out there that I don't think we quite understand how deep that will be. I'm not an attorney, but I do understand liability. The supervisor is an attorney. He probably could explain it a little with more clarity, but we want people to protect themselves. And the one thing we've tried to say, because we understand the frustration. I've talked to a number of businesses in Brighton. I know there's a whole retail group along Monroe Avenue. Some I'm a customer at many of those businesses from time to time. What we tell them is, don't get ahead of the governor's ruling. He'll come out. We don't want anybody to suffer enforcement. We don't want anybody to suffer fines. Everybody's suffered enough for the last 3 months. Our goal is to get things open, and we really fight, advocate, and bring information together every day. I'm proud to say that this region has probably provided Governor Cuomo and his team more information, more plans, more feedback than anything, than any other region. We do it routinely for 3 months. I don't mind saying I deal with maybe 100 to 200 emails per day. I always say, if you email me, if you don't get a response back that day, resend it. I'm pretty good, but sometimes I'm not quite that good. I'm up early in the morning. My first 2 hours on email, often my last hour at night is on email, and everything in between. But we are here to represent the people in this region and try and get things reopened and do it safely. We are not out of this pandemic yet. People that talk about it as a hoax are just, they're crazy. It is not a hoax. The flu took, I believe, 18,000 lives last year in 2019. This coronavirus has taken over 100,000 lives in 3 months. Just the infectious nature, the fatality rates. I know Bill and I have a colleague, Ted O'Brien, who was on a ventilator for weeks. The impact has been profound. We want to stay healthy, and we don't want to go back. And our goal is not to open up and then have these infection rates go up and then go back. And we don't want to close again. So part of the control room's responsibilities is to watch the numbers, which I'm on a call every day with the control room, every other day with the hospital systems. If we see numbers go up, then the governor may say, hey, Figure Lakes, you have to take some steps to bring those back down. We are now looking for a COVID-only facility for COVID-only patients. Our hospitals right now have about 80 people that have come from nursing homes that have obviously tested positive. They're okay to be discharged. They don't need to be in the hospital, but they can't go back to their old nursing home per executive order. So we're trying to find a spot where we're actually work with the county executive has been terrific to locate that in the state. That would free up probably 80 or more beds with the two systems within a day once that happens. So it's a constant effort we're going through here. I'm going to clarify a couple of things. Social media is interesting. Nothing has to be truthful or factual on social media. This is a volunteer position. I'm not paid a nickel. And after 3 months, I would say to the governor, you couldn't pay me enough because this has been I understand the pain and frustration. I get it. We can't open fast enough. We just don't have the ability to make those decisions here. But I applaud the governor for what he has done, the phased-in approach. So, people don't always appreciate what he has done, but we're in a far better place today than we ever could be based on this. And to some people, it's not fast enough, as we all could. If you had a business closed, you know what I'm saying? If you had the power go out in your house at any time, every hour seems like a day or a week. So we get that. It's, we tell people to be patient, but you know what? They're losing money every day. They're losing their life savings. They're losing their business. It's very hard to take that. So the issue is getting these things open. I just will close by saying this. Phase one was construction, manufacturing, some light retail. Phase two has been a much more expanded retail, hair salons, barbershops. I've not had a haircut since I think late February. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. I'm going to a barber tomorrow night. First one in over 3 months. I play by the rules, no cuts. And I don't mind saying I have two daughters. My son-in-law wanted my oldest daughter to cut his hair. She did. And about halfway through, he shaved his head. It was so bad. So I thought, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait until I get back to my barber, get a cut. But those things are important. I believe next up are like nail salons, the waxing, the personal services, gyms and fitness centers. I think we're pushing every day, Little League baseball, youth sports. We are constantly putting suggestions forward. They're coming. And again, the governor's announcement today just reinforces is not just going to wait for everything for the phase. I think as he sees opportunities, he'll keep going. He gets it. The one thing I don't do, I don't ever want to predict or raise expectations. I don't know. One of Bill's fellow supervisors tried to get out front of the restaurants opening. I get it, but my only advice then was don't do it. Wait for the governor. You can't break the law. wait for the governor to change the executive order and approve this. And here we go, about a week later, he does it. And now that town and all the towns, including the town of Brighton, can move forward with whatever steps they have to do to prepare these restaurants. That's the last thing I would say is this, the teamwork we've had here, and I have to say, Bill has been in elected office. I was in elected office for 10 years. I understand politics and government and sometimes turf and egos and things that go with it. This region has worked together so well. Just the teamwork and support, both sides of the aisle, everybody. That is why we are where we are today. And for the overall community, while some don't like the restrictions and guidelines, I believe the people of this region have been terrific. They wear masks, they stay away. I have neighbors who have little parties in their driveway. They're 8-10 feet apart in lawn chairs. People get it. I walk a lot. I'm on a lot of these trails. People are wearing masks. They get it. They are trying to follow. They've been super respectful. That's why we are where we are. I guess my last point is we can't let up because as these things open, you don't want to see what we saw in the Ozarks when everybody comes together. And you can bet in those states, infection rates are going to go way up. The protests last week, the things that happened, those that weren't wearing masks, close proximity, we're expecting infection rates to go up. One story Dr. Mendoza tells, we had one healthcare worker. She went to 2 parties over the holiday weekend, a little over almost 2 weeks ago. She's been infected with the coronavirus. I believe with the contact tracing, 8 other people were infected by that. And there are 2 parties, I get it. Families, friends, Memorial Day weekend, getting together, sick of being tied up, cooped up in our house. We get that. But we just we can't relax what we're doing because now she infected 8 people and there may be many more coming in that. And we just don't want that to happen. That's why this phased-in approach, because as angry as people are getting, if everybody came together all at once and there was this big rush, numbers will skyrocket and we're back to square one. In the fall, we have the flu season coming back. We have this pandemic. The virus is still here. There's no vaccine yet. So I just being vigilant, being careful, but reopening safely, getting back on point. And we are pushing to go out and support these businesses that have been closed for 3 months. Some have not. Some have benefited. Some have been open. Others have not. The ones that have not been open, we want to support, spend money, be it restaurants, small shops, retail, whatever they are, to help them get back on because this road back to recovery is not going to be quick. So I get wound up on this. You can tell I will stop and happy to take any questions or listen to the supervisor.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. It's a great update. And before I do introduce Bill Moehle, I'd like to see if there's any questions for you. And I think if you scroll over participants, you'll be able to raise your hand. At least I'm able to on a phone here. Can people do that? Can they raise their hand if they have a question? Anybody have a question for Bob Duffy? I'm going to call on Kathy. Kathy, let's see, give me 1 minute. And Kathy, unmute Kathy and go ahead. You there, Kathy?
Okay, here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just a quick comment, actually a couple comments. I noticed that we received word very, very late on Friday that we could reopen. We did reopen on Saturday because we can't afford to be closed for a minute more. So I was just wondering what your feedback was from other businesses who may not have been as prepared as we were. We actively, disinfected and had employees back ahead of time so that we could, prepare and then also get some of the masks and gloves and disinfectant. We have a sneeze shield for the counter, all of that. And of course, that all costs money too. But we were extremely glad to open on Saturday, even though I think it caught some people by surprise because there was no real yes or no until Friday afternoon. And then the other comment I had is we were extremely concerned about our business on Sunday following the looting and so on Saturday night. And thank goodness we had, I think, enough, I guess, deterrent by having the 200 troopers deployed to our area. But I am also hearing from a customer, actually, that there may be something else going on this coming Friday. Do you have any information about what might be happening in the city of Rochester or even in the surrounding areas? Because, as you know, Irondequoit and Greece were affected as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And Bob, just before you answer, Kathy's the owner of the Craft Company Number 6 is her business.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
I will say, I think my wife has been there many, many times over the years. So, first of all, Kathy, your first question, you're correct. There was not a lot of advance notice, and certainly heard a lot from a lot of people on that. I get that. And you know, while on one hand people say, why don't we know ahead of time? What I do know with the governor's team behind the scenes, they're going 24/7. They're getting it from all over the state. And I think they're trying to churn things out as fast as they can. So there really has not been a lot of advance notice. Today we got restaurants at least 24 hours notice to start. So that was helpful. But no, that point well taken. That's been raised and discussed with the governor's team. They've been very good about that. So, but I know they're in their haste. They want to get these things back open again. So we have raised that. We'd like to give as much notice as we can. And I want to go on record. I don't get advance notice. I don't get a call, hey, we're going to announce this in an hour. I kind of find out the way it's going right now when it gets announced, and sometimes the guidelines are posted. So, you know, we try and get information out as soon as we can. The state sent an email to me this afternoon. We got things out about the restaurants ASAP. We want to give them as much advance notice, getting staff ready, getting the place ready. So that's one. Number two, there are 3 demonstrations planned for the city on Friday. There's one, I think, in Canandaigua and Victor. There's one today, I think, out in Ontario County somewhere. And overall, I think the demonstrations have been very peaceful. What happened on Saturday, and I have, you know, a colleague who was there on Saturday, it kind of got hijacked by people that really weren't there protesting. I think the protests, by and large, have been peaceful. They have been respectful. But anytime somebody is assaulted, anytime property is damaged, I'm sorry, I part ways with that. There's no place for that. I think people are prepared for that. A lot of it is talking with the organizers and making sure there's certain ground rules, because, you know, we do, and we all do, respect the right to protest. And I have to say, as a person who spent a big part of my life, my first career in a professional law enforcement, I was personally sickened by that video. I really was. It was offensive, and there's been too many scenarios like that across the country. And so we get that. And I do think there really has to be a much deeper sense of change really across this country, and listening. But it doesn't happen by some of the things we saw by some people that took advantage of that. They got hijacked. I think it took away the intent of why the protests were there. I never expect things to be bad, so I expect the protests this weekend to be peaceful. There are 3 on Friday, and we heard from Ontario County supervisor today, actually Supervisor Victor, who's at the Board of Supervisors in Ontario County, that the one today, I'm not sure if it was Geneva or Canandaigua, somewhere in Ontario County, had a couple hundred people, very peaceful, very respectful, and I think that's what we expect going through in the future.
Thank you, Bob. I'm going to get to one more question from Beth Sears, and then we'll go to Supervisor Moehle. So, Beth, I'm going to ask you if you
I unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Beth.
Here I am. Hi, Bob.
Hello, Beth.
Couple things. Number one, is there any talk? I have an interest in a museum. I haven't heard any talk about museums being able to open, and they're not for profits and they're suffering. Is there any talk about when they can?
There is talk. I don't think it's come out yet officially. I mean, libraries are starting to reopen right now. The issue is density. So trying to figure out plans to reduce density. And I get that, from art gallery to our science museums, everything around it. It's getting a plan so that the density. You could gather anywhere right now with 10 people. And that's one thing. Outdoor, I think the governor's going to release a number of outdoor activities approved tomorrow. But we have raised museums in our discussions. I think they're working on those. Whether they come out before phase 3 or during phase 3, I think we'll hear fairly soon. There will be guidelines. There will be, again, restrictions for a number of people in there, probably masks and things I mentioned before. But we understand not-for-profit community has been really impacted. The one area I can't give hope for right now are the large gatherings. You know, I love Jiva,
Right.
the theaters. Not sure where that's going to go yet. That may be in phase 4. Any large gatherings, stadiums, things like that are much more problematic right now. But I do know they're working on guidelines. It might be one step at a time. I think even at some point there may be a number of people per square footage, which could be appropriate.
Mhm.
For a while, Wegmans actually counted at their store, I think in Pittsburgh, people coming in. They did that for a while. And that may be something that some businesses do if there's a maximum number, but they have not released those guidelines yet. But I do think there's been great respect for the fiscal stress on businesses
Mhm.
and not-for-profits. Both are
Okay.
incredibly important. Both hire people, both really support families. So that's forthcoming, and hopefully we'll have some more news in the near future.
Okay, thank you. And secondly, communication's my thing. Would you please pass on to the governor the incredible job he has done communicating throughout this whole thing? It's been a stellar job,
Well,
better than any state.
No, thanks, Beth. I do think that it's been a point in the last 3 months.
Mhm.
Every day he goes over the numbers. He hits where they're at. People want facts. They want data. You know what? They might not want bad news, but they should hear bad news. But as opposed to, and no one wants to be told everything is great when it's not great. And so leadership is, really giving the good news and the bad news, and just being open, direct, and honest about it. And I would tell you what, I know it. I was a kid, like today, I think with the restaurants, my hate mail should go down like 25% with the restaurants opening. People are angry. But listen, I get it. I understand it. I'm empathetic for what they're going through. It's a terrible time. It's my first pandemic in my career. I'll tell you that. I've never been through something like this before. It's terrible, but the frustration, I understand. What I don't like is the political frustration. And that is people that, if their agenda is not getting back in business, reopening, it's something else. It's partisan in nature. It's focused in different areas. Even people that are opposed to what's happening and the lockdowns and the restrictions, I would think they would celebrate each opening as a step in the right direction. You don't see that. That's why it tells me they lack credibility with me, because I respect protesters. I respect difference of opinion. I don't expect everybody to agree with. I'm not like that. And I've had enough experience in my life and my career to deeply appreciate the opinions and perspectives of others, because they matter. And we listen to that, and it might not comport, but you know what? It matters, and they're speaking the truth. We have to listen and adapt to it. And so I think overall, that's the message we get. But I do think some of the voices out there, it's an election year nationally. You can read into what you want. I am actually, as a elected official, I don't mind saying, I'm an elected Democrat, but I'm very nonpartisan. And through my job here, I have praised President Trump for bringing the hospital ship and resources to New York City and New York State. I have praised both sides of the aisle for stimulus bills. I've praised our governor. I've invited elected officials. Senator Schumer has been on our webinars. Congressman Joe Morelli several times. Tom Reed's been given an invitation. Our controller's been on. We appreciate everyone's perspective. We don't discriminate against that. But you know what? People don't care about politics. They care about their families, their economic recovery, the impact on their families, getting back to work, and also the fear that they have maybe going back to work, going back into a business. And I think the other voices out there do nothing but dilute those messages. And and I say this: the protests. I see people lining up on both sides, and comments being made that have no place in this community. I respect those protesters. I was a police officer for 28.5 years, and I have a great perspective. I respect police officers and what they do, the tough job. But you know what? Nobody's perfect. Not any profession anywhere is perfect. We all have imperfections. We have imperfect people because we're all imperfect. These things happen. And what I saw last week in that video, to me, was one of the biggest affronts. That guy, that poor victim, died on that camera. And not only is that police officer with a knee in the neck, it is a murder. I wonder why the other police officers did not step in and pull him off. That bothers me as much as what happened. That man was allowed to die on that street, and it never, ever should happen. So these protests, we have to listen and understand and understand that pain. And you know what? I always say, we can do better. And this community is poised to be better than any place else if we can get rid of these divisive voices and bring people together.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you, Bob. And thank you, Beth, for the question. Now I'd like to introduce our Brighton Supervisor, Bill Moehle, for an update from the town of Brighton. Bill?
Is he
Unmute
muted?
yourself, Bill.
I thought you had unmuted me. There we go.
There you are.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you for organizing this, and thank you, Bob, for coming on. I'm going to sort of start where Bob finished, which is really in a message of cooperation. Almost all of the town supervisors get together on the phone 3 times a week since the pandemic began. Every day, now it's down to 3 times a week, the county executive convenes village mayors, town supervisors in these conference calls. Bob has been accessible. The county executive has been accessible. Congressman Moehle has been accessible. And really what you've seen here in this region are people from, as Bob said, both sides of the aisle, working together, trying to get to a point that we don't know, the old phrase about, building the aircraft, while we're taking off. I mean, now we're landing, we're still building. And it's a challenge, but it's exciting, it's invigorating, and we couldn't do what we are doing if we weren't doing it in collaboration with people. There is an election coming up, as Bob said. We wouldn't be having that election as successfully as we will if it wasn't for Timothy Cosgriff and Empire State College acting as one of our early polling places. So there's an awful lot of people pulling together in this region to make this a better place, and that's so important. It's been challenging. Wanted to update everybody on a couple things that we have done. First, we got the message actually during the county executive's daily conference call today that the outdoor dining was going to be permitted. This is something we've been working on with some of our restaurants here in Brighton for some time. The State Department of Health clears emergency orders coming out of local municipalities. And one of the first things we did was put together an order to allow us to streamline the process of approving outdoor dining in Brighton. Because we are a densely packed neighborhood. We have businesses next to residences. We want to make sure, as we always have, that the two coexist. But we know this is a crisis. We know this is an emergency. We can't afford to wait for a planning board meeting and legal notice and all that stuff. So we have, now that this has been authorized, we have a request in for an emergency order. Our goal is to allow administratively the plans for restaurants to establish outdoor dining to be approved by our Commissioner of Public Works. We have a very short application form. We want to see what their plan is going to look like. But we want to get businesses along the avenue back in business successfully. And so we have that pending, and I'm optimistic that if not tomorrow, hopefully by Saturday, we will be in a position to have those restaurants opening. As Bob said, there's a lot of moving parts. For example, the liquor authority. We, to walk out the front door with a drink is something that the liquor board it has to approve of if they don't already have outdoor seating. So we just want to make sure we're all working in collaboration together. To that end, last week we had approved an emergency order allowing signage that is not normally allowed. We've had discussions in the past about A-frame signs. Businesses now during the pandemic will be allowed to have an A-frame sign. They will also be allowed to have the signage that's permitted under our special events law. which allows banners and other types of publicity. And we've seen people using that. We know it's out there. And again, it's important. We want people to be able to say, yes, we have curbside service. Yes, we have takeout. Yes, we're open. All of those things. So to have the flexibility, to have that additional signage, we know it's important to businesses. We're going to continue working with those businesses, whether they're on Monroe Avenue, whether they're in Tops Plaza, West Henrietta Road, throughout Brighton. We're looking forward to getting back to business in partnership with those businesses, and certainly in partnership with the Chamber. We've worked with the Chamber on some charitable activities during these tough times. And again, I'll finish where I started. The more we collaborate, the more we can get done together.
Good words, good words. Absolutely, Bill. Thank you very much for that. Bob, I know you have to run. You're a busy man. I just want to again thank you very much for joining us, and tell you how lucky I feel to have you as the Finger Lakes advisor, because you're doing just one fantastic job. So thanks again.
Nelson, thank you. I want to thank you, your leadership at the Brighton Chamber. And we've been at ribbon cuttings and events before. I appreciate all that you do for your members. Obviously, a supervisor who is a friend and a colleague. Any way that we can help and support, really accessible. My email is on the website. It's rduffy@greaterrochesterchamber.com. If there's a question, you don't bother us. I have a great team here. We try and get back to you as soon as we can. Any way we can help and support. And if there's any gaps and explanations of guidelines where people are confused, please reach out. There's always going to be gaps. If I can give you one last story, you love this one. The governor approved retail last week, and for phase 2, an owner of 3 bridal shops reached out. She went through the guidelines, and the guidelines forbid dressing rooms. And she said, I have a bridal shop. And those of it who have purchased wedding dresses, you don't just walk in and get a wedding dress and walk out without getting it fitted for you. I got a hold of the Governor's Council, an extraordinarily bright lawyer. She worked at SUNY with us for a while. She's a Governor's Council. Her name is Beth Garvey. Super bright, a great person to work with. She changed that guideline in 5 minutes. Change it as an oversight. I know how much they're working. These folks don't, I think sometimes we're busy. They're running the whole state, and they're going 24/7. There's going to be oversights and some gaps. Once we remind them, they get right back to it right away. So if you see something that maybe is not clear or was not covered, please let us know. We'll try and get clarity. But I just appreciate, again, Nelson, you and the Chamber for all you do. Supervisor, who I think is an outstanding public servant. I just appreciate all Bill does continuously. And if I can help in any way down the road, please call.
Thanks again, Bob.
Have a great night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, that was great to have Bob join us, and he gave us a nice thorough update. And of course, Bill gave us the update of the town of Brighton. The next part of our event, we thought we'd try to do a little networking. And Kelly, are you here, Kelly?
I'm here. Can you hear me and see me?
I can hear you. And yeah, you're there. So Kelly was going to lead this portion of our event. And I thought what Kelly was going to do was call on each person, and I'll let you take it from here, Kelly. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Nelson. Hi, everyone. It is so great, quote unquote, seeing you guys. It's been wonderful to have this little networking event. Miss seeing everyone in person, but we'll get there soon, as Bob said. And we thought we'd do this next portion of our meeting where we do a little networking. We'll ask everyone to do about 45 to 60-second update on their business. You know, are you open? Are you closed? Are you changing your operations at all? So we know what to expect. And if you are on mute, we'll ask you obviously to unmute, and then please remute when you're done. But I thought I'd get us started. So just really quickly, my name is Kelly Bagnashchi, and I am a branch manager with Northwest Bank on Monroe Avenue in Brighton, also the vice president of the Chamber. And we are still open for business. Banks are open for business. They have been right from the beginning, but we have changed our operations a little bit, and we're phasing into getting back to, I guess, quote unquote, normal. Our lobbies at Northwest are open by appointment only from 9 to 1 p.m. And then our drive-throughs are open during normal business hours. So we are still there for our customers, and we offer all sorts of, as we always have, channels of banking without coming to the branch. As much as I hate to say this, I work for the bank, but if I didn't work there, I probably would never go to the bank between online banking and direct deposit and mobile banking. So we definitely have all those channels for our customers. And we're hoping by the end of June, our lobby will be open normal business hours by appointment only, and then we'll start rephasing and talking more about opening up those doors and unlocking them to our customers. And just to let everyone know, we also run by the safety guidelines that are given to us by the CDC, the state, our governor, our corporate operations. And we, at this time, employees do wear masks, and especially if customers come into the branch, we are asking all customers to wear a mask. And we conduct our transactions now behind a safety glass shield, whether it be at the teller line or at the desk. And we clean and sanitize, as Bob was saying, all surfaces on a regular basis, you know, anything, particularly in the common areas. So we do keep those safety precautions in mind, and we are open for business. So again, it's great seeing everyone. I'm going to go ahead now and get to the participant list. And as I call your name, let's hope to hear a little bit from you. So let's start with Ramey.
Hi, my name's Ramey. I'm from Get Noticed with RJF Marketing. Right now, I've got a ton of PPE supplies available, everything from hand sanitizer, face masks, face shields, signage, the safety, like sneeze guard kind of products, and your normal pens and safety. Actually, there's a new safety tool that's available, so that you don't have to hold open a door, and you can touch the keypads without touching it with your finger. It's got a little bit of a stylus thing there. So there's a lot of products out there now that are available to keep you safe and healthy.
Great, thank you, Ramey.
Yep.
Bill, you are next on the list. Bill Moehle, I don't know if you want to go again, or if you just want to kind of say hi and
I will
let us know you're still there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, let me.
You're on, Bill.
I am on. Okay. A town hall is this week. Those of you in restaurants and other kinds of business are familiar with the notion of a soft opening. Town hall is doing a soft opening to the public this week. We haven't publicized it a lot, but we are seeing people by appointment only. As of next Monday, we will be open publicly, again, by appointment only. The hours will be a little bit shorter, but we've been working throughout the pandemic, whether it's policing, whether it's chip sealing streets and picking up debris. But in terms of opening the building to the public, that is new this week. And I think everybody's looking forward to getting back a little closer to normal, consistent with safety.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. That's for sure. Thank you, Bill. Beth?
There I go. I'm Beth Sears. I'm president of Workplace Communication Incorporated, and I'm definitely open for business. Doing a lot more remote work than before, but I am going into certain essential businesses if the precautions are in place and if the work dictates that. I'm doing a leadership development, and a lot of the leaders I'm working with, I'm helping them to understand what are the lessons learned through the pandemic, because a lot of people have learned that things that holes in their communication process, different things that are cropping up, and how to resolve them and emerge even stronger. So I'm doing lessons learned, leadership development, strategic communication, and it's a good time to do some coaching to help individuals raise the bar on their skills. So definitely Workplace Communication Incorporated, and I am open for business. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Beth. And thanks for a great Expert Edge seminar last week. Was awesome. Bob Farrell.
Guess I'm on. We've been pretty lucky through this whole thing. We also did a seminar, I think a week ago. Social media, we've been very lucky. 9/11, I was not lucky. had a lot of clients that couldn't pay their bills. This time we just happened to have clients that made money through this whole thing. So, and social media is really the way everybody's hitting home runs. So we've been very, very lucky going through this whole thing. So we're still open. My son is working out of his apartment. I'm working out of my house, but we're doing quite well, and it really hasn't affected us too much. But if you're not on social media, get on it. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, because that's where the eyeballs and ears are these days. And so that's, and don't just be on there to keep your name out there, be on there to be creative and engage and have some kind of engagement so that people will respond to you, share and like your posts and stuff. Otherwise you're just kind of like just keeping your name out there for no reason, because it doesn't really mean anything to people. But thank you for the time, and then we'll pass to the baton to the next person.
Thanks, Bob. Dennis Shew. Dennis, are you unmuted?
Now I am. Hi, folks. Dennis Shew. It's been an interesting time as a realtor. We have just, on the start of phase 2, kicked in. So Saturday was the first official day, and it was kind of slow because nobody knew for sure exactly what we should be doing, because we have lots of regulations that we have to go through. But that too will be. I noticed today at 2 o'clock there were 41 new listings that hit the multiple listing service. So some people are active. I used the time because I was staying home and I couldn't do anything because realtors couldn't do anything. I used the time productively. I passed all my continuing education for my next license. I changed brokerage. I am now associated with Empire Realty Group out of Webster, New York. Very excited to be with them. It's a great group and around for it's the largest independently owned real estate firm in the metro area, and getting started with that. So things are good. I've got quite a bit of people that are now going through SAFE, so we're going through that. I have some people that were talking about selling their house before it. And now they have decided they're just going to wait because they really aren't comfortable with bringing people into their house. So that's been a major issue that we're going to have to work through. But like all things, that will happen. So good to see everybody, even if it's arm's length through the webcam. Take care, be safe.
Thanks, Dennis. Now I have someone up next who the only identifier I have for this person is iPhone.
Whose iPhone? Anyone iPhone?
Yes.
I'm on an iPhone. Deb
Okay.
Smith.
Deb Smith. Deb Smith. Yes, Deb. Go, Deb. You're on.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Deb Smith from Deborah Jean and Company. I have a ladies boutique on Park Ave, right across the street from Stever's Candy. We have been very heavily affected by this. We did open our doors for about 1 hour Friday after we found out we could. We had regular hours on Saturday, and we're open Tuesday through Saturday. So today was not a good day. We haven't had a single person come in. So we're looking to get back into the swing of things with our customers feeling comfortable coming in. We have all of our protections in place, and we look forward to seeing everybody. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Deb. And we are hoping for things to get back to normal. I know I can't wait to get out and go. I'm not much of an online shopper as far as clothes and what have you, so I'm looking forward to getting back out there as well. So thank you.
You're
Next
welcome.
up, Jeff Kamens.
Hi.
Oh, you're muted again, Jess.
Let me see.
There we go. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi, I'm so happy to see you guys. Adult faces. I'm at home with my 5-year-old, so it's really nice to see adults. I got word, just like all of you at the last second, we had been trying to find out whether photographers were allowed to open in phase 2, and we found out when the website changed. So it was last minute, but I have been preparing for this for several weeks, so I was ready to go. I've implemented all of my safety precautions. I'm not doing in-person meetings yet, but I am doing distance sessions. So those start actually in 2 days. My sessions are usually distant anyway. I'm not really on top of my people that I'm taking photographs with. So I'm from afar anyway, so it will be very easy. I have a lot of inquiries coming in for rebranding, new headshots. We need new images for our website. We need data. We need content for social media to get more clients in. So a lot of small businesses are reaching out for branding work, which is really great. I am booking families from July on. So I'm waiting a little bit on families, again, from a distance, and weddings. Most of my weddings have moved to next year. So I'm booking later in the year and to next year. And I'm teaching as well. I'm teaching my photography lessons. I've moved everything online and it's really fun. And I'm teaching all ages right now. So I've got parents who just want their kids to do something different and fun. I'm teaching ESL and German and art and tutoring and doing a lot of stuff just to kind of keep afloat. One thing that I'm doing that I want to offer, she went away. Was it Deb? Was that your name? Who has the business across from Stevers?
Yes. Yeah, Deb Smith.
So, and I'm offering a complimentary image of you in front of your storefront right now for any business. I'm running around and doing them sporadically in between my errands. It's literally takes 1 minute, and I'm giving you that image to use on social media to announce your reopening. So if there's anyone that knows of a business that could use that, or like Deb's, I'll reach out to Deb. What's the name of her business? Does someone have that?
Company.
What is it?
Deb Smith and Company.
Deb Smith and Company. And
no, Deborah Jean and Company.
Deborah Jean and Company.
Deborah
and
Jean.
Kathy, I don't know if she's still there. We just took Craft Company's picture and I'll be sending that to her this evening. Kathy, it's coming this evening.
Yeah, Kathy's still on mine too.
Okay, so if anybody has a storefront and wants pictures, you could do fun signs, you can do a little theme, whatever you'd like. So feel free to pass that on. And I'm actually gonna put it in chat right now. So if you want the link for the application, if you know any business, you can feel free to send that on. And again, happy to see you all. And I'm trying to stay afloat like everyone else. So, but I'm determined. I have no choice.
Thank you so much, Jess. And that's such a great offering to all the business owners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy, you are up next.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to let you know, that we had a session with Jess and it was lovely. And we want to thank her. And boy, that's coming out fast. So thank you. I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I didn't know that you were opening so quick. I'm so sorry. I would have had it too.
No, we didn't know either.
I know.
We were cleaning at that point. But yeah, we gathered in front of the store, just absolutely, I think took her life in her hands. She was standing out in the middle of the street trying to get a good shot because she wanted to get a picture of the name of that was over the front of the building. And we had 2 other people, so there were 3 of us in the picture. We had a sandwich board sign saying we are the safe place to shop, and I stand by that. We are very low density, so we were very happy to offer that experience to our customers. We're not shoulder to shoulder. We have over 5,000 square feet of retail space. So we are very low density. It would take a lot of people here to make us crowded. So we have a wonderful sale going on this week. So please come in and help us get back on our feet. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And I don't know if everyone on this meeting has been to Kathy's store, but it's amazing. So I can't wait to get back over there. Next up is Energy 19. Are you
Muted.
unmuted, Energy?
Oh, there we go. Jess, my colleague is 5 years old too. I also have a 4-year-old as well, but it's great to be here. And I'm excited to see all my marketing and communication colleagues too. So I do crisis. Hey, there you are. Hi, looks just like mine. I do crisis communications and public relations. I've been living in New York city for the past 18 years. And my family and I are really fortunate to have come back when we did. It's been about 9 months, and things are good. I can't complain. And we have more space. It's obviously a better life up here in Rochester. I'm a Rochester kid. I grew up here. So it's nice to be coming back, and it's been too long since I've been away. I do, again, crisis communications and public relations. Unfortunately, I've been doing disasters my entire life. I worked for the Red Cross in Rochester, and when 9/11 happened, I went to New York, and that's why I was there 18 years. So I'm good. I'm glad to be back. And if anybody needs any support for crisis communications or media relations, media training, I just did a training for a client in Syracuse this morning, and I forgot how fun it was. So give me a call whenever anybody needs. And Dennis will be finding me a home in a couple of months, hopefully. Well, maybe 6 months. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And you know where to go if you need a mortgage, Northwest Bank. Just kidding.
I know. The only
okay, next up.
Consultant.
I think I'm frozen here. Let's see.
Kelly, I can hear you.
Are we there? Because my phone froze up a little bit. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, Sandra, you are up next.
Hello, my name is Sandra Coble. I'm a certified financial planner. It's wonderful to be able to get together in a group, even if it is at distance, for some normalcy. I've been very fortunate. I have continued to work. My office is set up that I can come in. I'm by myself. The staff is working from home, and just really continued on with what I do. I do a lot of retirement planning, investment planning, financial planning, and doing it a little differently with Zoom meetings and conference calls and conversations. But was wondering how people would react and what the interest level would be in continuing on. And I think it was something that continuing planning and talking about things or looking at their financial affairs was something that people could continue to do. I think with the circumstances, it brought it to the surface a little bit more. And it also, with the coronavirus and the stay-at-home orders, gave people a lot more of time to look at things. So in some ways, it was a good opportunity to reflect and help people who hadn't taken the time or had the time previously. I'm looking forward to things getting back to normal, that's for sure. And it's also been interesting from a financial point of view in the markets. I'm sure everyone has seen the wild ride, if that's fair to say, with where we're at and what's happening. And I think many of the people that I work with are concerned, like, is this going to continue? Is it not going to continue? Is it going to change? And again, it's just been a good time to reflect on the planning. And in some ways, I also think being at home and having more time has given people time to reflect, given people more time to reflect on what their priorities are and look at some of the things that they haven't looked at in the past too. So I've been blessed and fared well in the circumstances. I have some great clients and feel fortunate. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Tim, you are up next.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm Timothy Cosgriff with SUNY Empire State College. And Bill, thank you so much for your kind comments about the college. We are open, but we are in phase 4. So we were already partially online, but we moved all our studies completely online. So again, with 30 campuses across the state, plus international, all our operations are online. And we're in phase 4. But the one piece I wanted to mention as a follow-up to what Bill was speaking about, the college will be the site for early voting for the primary. Again, this will be June the 13th through the 21st. And then the primary day on the 23rd, which will be for the Brighton residents only. And what's so interesting about this particular election is the historic nature of it. It is the first time that we are giving people 3 ways in which to vote. You may vote absentee, you may vote early election, or you may vote on the primary day. So again, it's one of the first times that we're doing this in New York State. So I'm working very closely with the Board of Elections. We hosted them last fall. This time through, we don't know how many people will be coming in, but obviously we have to maintain certain numbers of people in the building, and we will keep track of that so that everyone is safe. If we get a lot of people showing up, if they have to line up outside to keep the people inside safe, we will do so. But if you have any questions on voting, simply go to the Board of Elections, Monroe County Board of Elections, or the League of Women Voters. And something interesting that I learned from the Evan Dawson show, they had a whole show on voting. They were talking about, even with early voting, if you cast your ballot and then you decide you want to change your ballot and say show up at early voting, you may do so, and your last vote cast will always be the one that will be taken. So it's learning new things each time through. Again, if you want to see how we are doing this, just the steps that have been going into opening up 2 rooms of that building are quite expansive, but we're just glad to be a part of Brighton and glad to be a part of this process. So, and thank you so much for having us. And also, we were down to be the first Friday networking before work in August. So as we get closer to that, if we wish to do something like this, or even meet at a social distance out on the trail in the front lawn and bring your own coffee, we can figure out something creative. So we have plenty of time for that. And just thank you for having me.
Sounds interesting, Tim.
That sounds good, Tim. I like that idea, especially if it's a nice day. That sounds great. Last but not least, Tony.
Saving the best for last? I don't know about that. Hello, everybody. It's good to see some faces I haven't seen in a little while. My name is Tony Murray. I am a comprehensive financial advisor out of the firm of Central Financial Group, which is based in Linden Oaks, although I am over in Park Avenue working out of my house. And I often say that my job, when people ask me what my job is, I help people make better decisions with their money and protect them from themselves. I'm very fortunate that the majority of my clients haven't really freaked out, because one of the things we've done is we've built a basis of having cash on the side. So if you were set up, if you were going through a slowdown or if you were displaced, most of my clients I've positioned or tried to position them to have 3 to 6 months of liquidity on the side for events that people think never are going to happen. And unfortunately, we've seen some things happen. So I do a lot of work with investments, insurance protection, estate planning, helping people make better decisions, avoiding either being too aggressive. What we did see before this crisis was some people just thought the markets always go up, and volatility is a healthy part of the markets. This is a little extreme, and also people that are too conservative. So what I like doing is helping people work out a plan, going from their working life, educating children, trying to figure out how they're going to retire, what that looks like, and giving them more options, managing cash flow, buying their first house or their dream house or whatnot, working with other peers and making those pieces work together. So it's good to see people. Good news is I've been used to doing remote work with some clients of mine that are located around other parts of the country. So I've gotten better at it, but this is kind of the norm, because we don't want to sit down with and expose people that are potentially a little bit more susceptible. So I will meet people where they are, whether it's digitally, or we'll figure out as things open up. Good to see everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, and it's good to see a couple faces that I haven't seen in a while. So.
And
Kelly, are you there?
Snuck in.
Kelly?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm here. I'm so sorry. I'm at home. my dog started barking at me because he's ready for dinner. So I had to mute myself. He's a big dog. So
Okay.
I apologize. But it was great. So great seeing everyone. That is the all of our participant list, which has been, it's just been amazing that everybody was here.
Kelly,
So,
John
let
Adams
me
just,
Yeah, John is here, so let me, let's
oh,
have John, if you
I'm
want to
gonna
give
say
us a,
goodbye because I've got to go make dinner because I'm in charge. So
okay,
nice
bye,
to see
okay.
everyone, and we'll talk to you all soon.
see
Bye,
you.
Randy.
Bye, Randy.
Hi, Remy.
Sorry for being late. I looked at my calendar this morning, discovered I had 3 meetings set at 5:30 today. So it looked like this one was going to run a little longer, so I went to one of the other ones first. And then the third one didn't bother sending out the Zoom information, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I'm not going to that one. It's good to see everybody. Bill, you're looking quite dapper over there. I got my hair cut yesterday. Good deal.
Oh, nice.
Not supposed to say where, because he said he doesn't want any new customers. He just wants to take care of his existing customers, but it might have been in Victor. So yeah, we're continuing to keep busy, and a lot of people thinking about alternatives to just going back to work, and that's good for us. We have to do a little better in a slight downturn. We didn't need this much downturn, but things are going very well for us right now, and we're used to this. We're used to this Zoom thing. It's actually made us much more efficient than we were before. So.
Great.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you, John. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to see you, John. And if you missed the first part of the call, it's going to be recorded. So you can catch up on what Bob Duffy said.
Oh, I will do that. Great. Thank you. That's good.
I have to run because my little one needs dinner as well. But Deb, please reach out to me. I will come take a picture of you at your business.
Sweet.
Photobomb. Little photobomb there, Jess.
Oh, my.
I love it.
Kelly, I'm going to thank you for supervising that part of the event. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I know it was fun to see each other and also to hear from Bob Duffy. And we plan to do another networking event next month. So just watch the website and watch your email for an invitation. And everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see each other in person very soon.
Thanks,
Thank
Nelson.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Stay safe.